Okay, so now we're gonna look at Mookie Betts. So we're gonna continue the theme of looking at everybody in the World Series. We've made a bunch of videos already. We've done Juan Soto, we've done Judge, we've done Ohtani. Now we're gonna do Betts. I pulled up a couple of videos here. This is from earlier in the season. This is from maybe like last week, maybe, I think. So we're just breaking down different hitters' swings and talking about what comes to mind. Now with Mookie, the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is the type of mover he is and how every hitter is going to be different with the way that they move. So Mookie is a really loose mover, super flexible, super mobile. And so the way he gets ready to hit or the way that he basically creates stretch in his body or takes the slack out of his muscles is different than the way that Trout does it or the way that Judge does it or the way that Nick does it or the way that I do it because me and you are both built more like I don't want to say I'm built like Mike Trout. That sounds silly, but you know what I mean. Like I'm a stiff
Yeah.
mover. You're more of a stiff mover. Mookie's more of a loose mover. I'm just gonna play it for a minute. I'll shut up and play it so you can kind of see. Right. So like Mookie, there's you can just see in his stance, like his stance is very just relaxed. Like he's nowhere close to what his hitting position is going to be,
Yes.
right? And so he has all this stuff that he has to do, right? A lot more movement. And again, because he's so loose, he has to make bigger, they're just bigger moves to take all the slack out. He creates this ton of separation, like a ton of separation. You can see that's why I wanted to put this view up. Look at how much like his you can see his leg turning, like this leg's turning. You're going to see a huge stretch across his jersey right here. Hopefully I'm not in the
Hmm.
way. His hands are still pulled back because again he's just loose. So he's able to create this huge amount of stretch. Now I think the important thing is that you don't want to tell Mookie to try to be more like a Judge, right? Where Judge, give me an example of Judge or even like you, how we like preset a lot of our movements. Yeah, so like where we start a lot closer to our hitting position than Mookie does. Mookie was like this. Me and you, or Trout, or
I'm already
Judge,
ready.
like we both like to
Yeah.
be spread out, low to the ground, very minimal movement. We set up our position, and we're ready to basically rock.
Yeah. Like he wants to dance with the pitcher as long as possible. Like he wants to go from zero and then slowly get to 100. Where I feel like I'm already like getting to 50,
You
so
might
I
even
can go to 100
you might
quicker.
be at 80 already.
That's what I'm saying. Like where he is at zero, and
Yes.
I feel like I'm already preset. Where like someone like Judge probably feels like he's at 90,
Yeah,
and he's
exactly.
popping in, and then he's like, okay, I don't got to move anymore.
Right. And so everybody's different movers. And so the biggest lesson I want to take, I've actually, if you follow our channel, you know that I talk about this all the time, is that at one point in my career, they tried to make me more like a Mookie. They wanted me to be looser, more relaxed. And I couldn't figure out how do I get from here and take all of that slack out of my body and get to this hitting position. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't do it. They wanted me to do it, but that wasn't how I'm built. I'm a much tighter athlete. Again, I'm built more like Mike Trout. He's way better than me, but I'm built more in that type of body where I'm just a stiff mover. And so I'm never going to be able to, or I probably won't be able to figure this out. And it's the same thing with Mookie. Like you wouldn't want to take Mookie and then tell Mookie, okay, try to be more like Judge or Trout or Nick Palma or Matt Antonelli. Like you're not going to want to tell Mookie to do that because he's built differently. His body moves differently. He's much looser. Again, but usually looser guys have bigger movements to be able to create that separation. So I think that's really, really key. And then again, if you look at the core principles, like you're going to see the same stuff. You're going to see a coil. You're going to see a pullback. Just the moves they're bigger, right? He gets pulled back, and now you're going to see the right leg starts to turn. The upper body's going to work back. The barrel's going to turn back right there. And this is a really good view of the barrel getting turned back, and then him coming through the hitting zone and staying through the hitting zone and hitting a home run right there. So understanding what type of mover you are, what works best for you, knowing that there's not cookie cutter approaches. So it's not like a one size fits all when it comes to hitters. You're going to give him different advice than you'd give me, than you'd give Nick, than you'd give Trout, than you'd give Judge, and that's okay. We could throw 100 hitters, 1,000 hitters up here, and you'll see all different types of styles. You'll see guys in all crazy different stances. You'll see hitters get to their hitting position in different ways. But again, I think the key is if you watch all the hitters when they're about to launch, so like right there at this point, they're all going to look really, really
It's
similar,
perfect.
right? So you got the core
It,
principles,
it's a perfect triangle.
right?
That's what you shoot for when you're getting to a launch position. You want everything to stay right in there. You don't want your head too far back over that foot. You don't want it too far in front on this one. Now, maybe someone like Judge. Judge is someone who's probably a little bit further back on this side. But again, he was someone who would swing down and would fall to his front foot, so he had to reset it by feeling more back.
Exactly. And we talked about it in that video. He's also 6'7", 6'8", almost 300 pounds. He wants to get the ball in the air a little bit more.
Yep.
He's going to have a little bit more of an uphill swing, where Mookie probably isn't going to be in that mold. He doesn't have that type of bat speed. Still a great athlete. Still hits for power, but he's a little bit flat. I mean, you can see it in this video if you watch his swing. His swing is it's a little flatter. It's a little bit more direct. It's not as much uphill as a Judge, but again, this works obviously really, really well for him. He's been a stud in the big leagues for a really long time. So I think that's really, really key. Understanding what type of hitter you are, not being cookie cutter approach, not coaching. If you're a coach, not coaching every single hitter the same way. If you're a player, not trying to not just saying like, oh, I really like Mookie Betts because he's really good, so I'm going to try to mimic everything he does. That might not be best for you. Just like trying to mimic Mike Trout might not be best for you. Okay, so that's the main point. Anything else? I think we're good. So last thing I'll leave you with is remote training. So we've been asked to do this for years and years and years. Finally going to do it. 15 players only. You can be trained from anywhere in the country through remote training. So click the description box down below. It's going to bring you over to our website. We'll give you all the information. Again, only opening this up to the first 15 players. After that, closing it down just so we can give individualized attention to those 15 players. Softball or baseball players, doesn't matter. So that's all we got. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.